Well, feeling exhausted and chronically stressed at the office is no longer all in your head. The World Health Organization recently redefined workplace burnout as a legitimate syndrome. Though not a medical condition, it's considered a workplace phenomenon that could lead some people to get care. According to a recent Gallup poll, burned out employees are 63% more likely to take a sick day and more likely to be actively seeking a different job. So what do you do if your job is burning you out, and how can you avoid this altogether? Well, here to share more is licensed clinical psychologist Nathaly Shoua-Desmarais, Director of Medical Student Counseling and Wellness at Florida International University's College of Medicine. Dr. Desmarais, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
So we have all heard it, people saying, I'm so burnt out, I've said it. But from a clinical perspective, what does this look like?
So again, in the 1970s, the term burnout came out from research by Dr. Freudenberger, and since then there has been a plethora of research in regards to what burnout is. And essentially, when we look at burnout, it's a form of psychological state where you can experience 3 different clusters of symptoms, essentially.
Okay.
The first is where we experience emotional exhaustion. Which is similar to sometimes if we're starting an episode of depression, there's also that commensurate experience of emotional exhaustion. But with burnout, it's more of a depletion, loss of energy, fatigue, which when burnout first came out was believed to actually act in sequential order. When we didn't work out our exhaustion and figure out how do I stop this, we would then develop a level of cynicism or depersonalization, detachment from others. So it's almost like, again, a stage model, which then would lead us to have a reduced sense of self-efficacy.
Okay.
But what we're now learning is that it's not necessarily a stage model.
Okay.
And people can experience burnout in any of those clusters at any given time, depending on the risk factors that can lead to burnout.
So as far as what we're going to see in the future, so let's say my colleague is experiencing burnout. What does that mean? I will get a note from my doctor. Can I get time off from work that will actually be covered because of this?
Hopefully, that's the goal. I believe that that's the whole purpose of why the World Health Organization created this now formal syndrome, to really highlight the impact that burnout has in the workplace. I work with I'm at the College of Medicine with medical students, so I'm very privy to all the research regarding physicians. Burnout actually is estimated to cost the business of medicine close to $5 billion a year due to physician turnover and leaving a position. So there's a cost because of burnout. So if we don't, start taking care of the people that are actually taking care of other people, we're going to create even more problems down the road.
So these are physicians who can't take the I don't mean it in a bad way, but they can't take the pressure, they leave the employment.
Yes, in the world of medicine, about 40% of physicians have experienced or are experiencing burnout.
Now, you did mention to me that some sectors, some professions perhaps are more vulnerable to this burnout?
The people-oriented professions have a higher tendency because it's believed burnout right now, because of the research from the past 40 years, focused on the social context of burnout, and that it's a stress experience due to interpersonal stressors of the job. And that could be the interpersonal relationship between you and your boss. Demanding a strong a higher workload of you when you just are depleted in the capacity to meet those demands, for example.
I want to certainly get into what we can do about it, but the cause for this, is it a simple one, just that we're being asked as employees to do more with less, just produce a lot more of whatever it is the service that we provide?
Well,
or
again,
product?
According to the research out there, there are essentially 6 domains of risk factors that workplace environments present that can lead an individual to develop burnout. That includes the work overload, whether or not that person is getting rewarded for the work that they're doing. Maybe even a good pat on the shoulders saying, "Hey, good job on doing that project," or whatever it is. If you have an environment that doesn't provide that, that can actually cause someone to experience burnout. If you have an environment that is not supportive, like the community within your work environment is competitive, cutthroat, similar to how we kind of envision what corporate America
Sure.
sometimes looks like.
Sure.
Fairness, is there fairness amongst the employees in the workplace? And also values. Are your values being worked through in your work? Or is there such a gap between what you believe and what your values are and what you're doing in your work?
Does social media play a factor in all this?
In what way?
Perhaps creating competition between others, seeing it how maybe fabulous other lives may appear to be.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
comparing that to what we're living.
Yes, perfectionistic attitudes can be a huge factor that contributes to burnout, particularly when we're looking at how wonderful someone else is doing, in their work through social media.
Or that they're going on all these fabulous vacations all the time while we feel like we're just hanging on.
Yes, but that's a perceptual thing, right?
Sure. So what do we do about it? I don't think tomorrow the boss is going to come in and say you're going to have to do half the work you're doing today. How do you avoid burnout?
So ideally, it would be best if you could go and speak to your boss and say, hey, I'm feeling something that I shouldn't be feeling in this work environment. I enjoyed the work, I'm happy here, but something's going on. Hopefully the employer, right, will do something about that and maybe possibly reduce the workload, but that's maybe not realistic. But self-care is very important, not only in regards to burnout, but just in mental health. Making sure that we take care of ourselves. So making sure that you're sleeping right, that you're eating right, that you're exercising, that you're disconnecting, that you're spending time with friends and loved ones.
That third point on our screen is the disconnecting, and that's one of the biggest issues I see. Just when I'm talking to my friends, it'll be 8 o'clock at night, and they're still answering emails. I have a friend on weekends constantly checking the phone about what's going to be due on Monday.
Right? There's an addiction that people have in regards to these smartphones and this constant access that they need via these devices. But more importantly, it is something that they really need to work on to not create that experience of burnout, because it is debilitating if it gets to a point that there's no turning back, so to speak. So hopefully this presentation, this talk, and people sharing this information with others, when they see someone on the phone at 8 o'clock, put that down. Talk to me. Let's eye contact, right? Like, enjoy the moment. Don't be on that device.
At a previous job, I would actually go. We started. I was never into meditation, but we as a group decided we were going to take a little bit of our lunch break, go into a room, hide, and meditate. And it was truly helpful. I've never done it before.
That's great. Yes, meditation has become mainstream nowadays. There's so many apps, free apps, apps that cost money, but that allow you to really disconnect and be explorative with yourself. Self-reflect.
I want to switch to talk to all the bosses out there, the employers.
Yes.
What can they do for their employees? And I know you talked about purposeful work and helping perhaps employees to understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Correct.
Or a project.
In terms of employers, what they could do is hopefully communicate that there is a community within that work environment that cares about the employees, and facilitate some form of support group, maybe. Maybe just having like a half-hour lunch, or maybe after lunch, where they could sit and talk about some of the grievances that are going on, and not a I don't want to use foul language on television, but not a forum to complain, but just an opportunity where everybody can support each other. Because as I said, that community is one of the reasons that people burn out, if they don't feel supported.
And I didn't even mention this, but as far as what can happen to a person who's chronically stressed out like this, it's serious.
It's serious. It actually could be a precursor to more severe mental health problems, such as depression or anxiety, or potentially something even worse. The research has been always that burnout is a precursor for those types of presentations. The difference is depression, for example, is context-free, whereas burnout now is going to be specific to the job. But if it gets so bad, that context doesn't need to be there, and all of a sudden you're still feeling that emotional exhaustion and cynicism and detachment.
Yeah, we've got to definitely pay attention to this issue. Dr. Desmarais, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for more tips on avoiding workplace burnout and other health issues, check out South Florida PBS's Health Channel. To find out more on how to watch, visit their website, allhealthtv.com.